up, everyone? This is SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. We're coming at you with a super spicy and special episode 292, and we're recording on August 4th, 2024. I'm Doug, and joining me today, we got Warren.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And Anita.
Hello.
And as a quick reminder, check out SojuTalk on your favorite podcast platform, sub to us on YouTube, and join the SojuTalk Discord and be a part of the nation. Okay, I'm gonna assume some people listening today are listening to us for the first time because of the subject matter today. They saw the episode title, they clicked it. We're a K-pop podcast. We've been around for like 5-6 years. We're on episode 292. Today you're joining us for the 2024 SojuTalk Kpop Girl Group tier list. It's gonna be spicy. We have a history of doing tier lists on this show. So let's get to some housekeeping. Back in 2019, we did the SojuTalk K-pop Girl Group tier list. It's a YouTube video. You can check it out. The following year, we did the 2020 K-pop Girl Group tier list. In 2021, in episode 211, we did another girl group tier list. And it's been like 4 years. We're going to run it back one more time. Why are we doing girl groups? Why is there no boy group tier list? To answer that as easy as possible, we don't feel like we have enough knowledge about boy groups to just make one right off the bat and post it on YouTube, put our names on it, sign it with a bow, with a kiss, and send it out into the world. We'd be willing to do it as a live stream sometime in the future. So if you want us to do that, let us know. It would be chaotic because we're really not that well informed about that. Girl groups, though, I feel like we know a lot, right?
I say so. Yeah, I think I think the thing with our listeners, particularly, and the K-pop community in general, is like there are a lot of people who follow not just one, not just two, but like 3, 4, 5, 8, 12 different girl groups. I'm like, why don't you put them in a big room and figure out, you know what I mean? Like that'd be kind of fun, you know?
Yeah. Now let's get to the disclaimers. We always need to do one. Let me just read off this prepared statement because we're gonna need it. The tier list we are making today is less based on personal preference and more based on which groups we think are larger/bigger in terms of popularity, sales impact, relevance at the time of this recording, August 4th, 2024. So what we mean about that is, if we were just basing it on which groups I like, I would put XG at the top of the tier list, right? But realistically, they're probably not there yet. You know what I mean? We are more or less putting which groups we think are the biggest and most impactful in K-pop. This tier list will also be made 100% on vibes, and we are not allowed to look up like sales numbers or stream numbers or music video views during the recording. It's just on vibes. We're just gonna do it because we feel like that would make it a lot more fun. Number 3, this tier list is 100% subjective, and it's just our opinions. We are 3 stupid people on the internet. We're just going to give our opinions, and we are entitled to them as much as you are 100% entitled to your own opinions as well. And feel free to disagree with us, but please be civil about it.
I typically monitor the comments. If they are not nice, I will remove it. But if it's civil and if it's a conversation starter, I'm definitely with you. So please leave any opinions you have down in the comments or in the Discord if you are in the Discord, or join the Discord if you haven't already, so that we can actually chat about it instead of going back and forth comments.
All right, last slide before we get to it. Eligibility. Okay, the girl groups included in this tier list have been covered by us on the podcast since episode 150 back in August of 2021. So it includes all girl groups we cover since 2021. Groups must be active at the time of this recording with no official announcement of disbandment like Wakey Makey, nor major lineup departures with an uncertain future like Alice. So, Wakey Makey disbanded, Alice lost the majority of the members. They're not going to be in our tier list.
There's also a couple of groups that we kind of skipped over if we didn't have much to talk about them. For example, like Maka Maka, for example, like I don't have a lot of cool things to say about Maka Maka right now, you know what I mean? So like there's a couple exceptions. If there's anything we missed, let us know what tier they should be, and that'd be really cool. So yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, I built this giant template of 48.
You gotta zoom in.
48 wild girl groups. I'm zooming in. Give it a second. You got all these G-idols, Aespas, A-Pinks, all the way down in alphabetical order down to Young Posse. I know we got a lot to say about all these groups. All right, do you want to go in alphabetical order? Like, what do we want to do? Like,
I think we should just go randomly. I think it'd be more funny if we do.
Okay, do you want me to randomize this list real quick? I could do that.
I don't, because there's one group though that I want to start off first with.
Oh, you came in prepared. you did your homework.
So I have been asking people questions on the Discord this whole week, like where would you put these groups, or
Yes,
how would
yes,
you feel
yes.
if this group was here? Where would you put these other groups?
Yeah.
We've been running simulations on the Discord more or less of this, right?
Okay.
Getting opinions, yeah.
I think there are two really big questions you end up with this tier list. Number one, how inclusive do you want your S tier to be? Do you want to include a lot of groups, or do you just want to include one or two groups that you think are literally the peak of girl group K-pop at the moment? And then number two is the question that I want to get at first. So, if y'all know, Dreamcatcher is kind of considered the gatekeeper of upper tier girl group K-pop, right? I've seen many people bring up this conversation or talk about it on our server. I think you kind of have to place them first, because then all the following groups can be placed relative to them.
Okay. So, just explain this argument. You're seeing Dreamcatcher as a gatekeeper of the upper tier? Is that what you said?
Yeah, people bring up this argument on our server constantly.
Okay.
Whenever we talk about Dreamcatcher.
Okay, so should I view them as you pass Dreamcatcher, you're in the upper tier. If you don't, you're mid or lower.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say Dreamcatcher is considered like an upper mid tier girl group, right? They do well. They have decent sales. They have a good fandom.
Right.
But there are groups that are clearly bigger than them and smaller than them. And they have such a distinct style that everyone likes to just place them in a spot, and then everyone else falls into place relative to them.
Okay. I think, given you have 48 goddamn groups on this list, I think there are plenty of exceptions to that. But I think I'd like to begin with them if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, since you brought up this conversation, Doug, where do you see Dreamcatcher?
It's gotta be between B and C, right?
It's between B and C, right?
We're talking about middle ground.
Okay, if you literally want to do that, I'm okay with that too. Like,
no.
Really wouldn't care if you did that.
No, that's a cop out. We gotta place them somewhere.
So this tier list consists of it's 48 girl groups, so about 50 of them, right?
Right.
Some people on our server even like try to rank all of these girl groups in order. Right?
Oh God!
I wouldn't
Dreamcatcher always comes out like mid-20s, like right in the middle.
I do feel like Dreamcatcher is right in the middle, and I do feel like off the bat, I'm gonna start by saying I feel like they belong in C. Only because if I think about a girl group, I can't ignore general public relevance. Like for a girl group, that is very key to success. Like Dreamcatcher right now, that is their cap. That is their ceiling at the moment. That's holding them back. And I think for a lot of the lower groups, that's also what's holding them back. So in that aspect, I want to say top of C tier almost.
I would say we put them either at the top, very top of C, or the very last group in B. Because that kind of functions as a gatekeeper then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anita, what do you think?
I mean, I guess I was leaning towards like a lower B because my perception of them is that they are more of the success, right, of the smaller girl groups where it took a long time for them to start winning music shows, to just be a little bit more well known. Internationally as well, I feel like they had a good fan base. So I feel like they seem more of like the success story, like, and possibly still getting more traction.
That's why I see them at the top of C tier instead of the.
Okay, well,
I see them as the largest amount of success you can gain without launching yourself into the wider general public relevance market. That's what I think.
Also, it's not permanent. So to get this show rolling, I suggest we just put them at the top of C, see how things are playing out, and we could always reserve the right to move them as we go on.
That's fair. Why don't we start with putting them on C, and then we'll return to it later if you need to. Yeah. Okay.
What do we want to do now?
I'm curious what you put next to them though, because that's what I'm thinking.
I think it's fairly obvious to me.
Okay.
Who goes next?
You want to start there, or do we want to start with the big groups? Because we're gonna have to come up to that at some point.
Why don't we start with the big groups? Let's start with the big groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think in 2024, regardless of what you think of the last comeback, this Klaxon song, I-DLE is an S tier girl group. That's my take.
Okay.
I think G-Idle at worst is the fourth biggest girl group in K-pop.
Okay, I agree with you there. They have tremendous sales. Their contents are fire. They have great public relevance. Everyone knows about them. Their songs.
Oh yeah.
If they don't do well, they do well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They have the biggest safety net at the moment. I think
Even if the title track doesn't do well, they release the B-side, it goes number one,
okay.
as we've seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's stick them an S. I think that makes sense.
I think we stick them in S.
You know who else belongs in S? I think Blackpink.
Okay, this is a spicy take.
Blackpink.
This was one of the most contested picks in on our server.
I realize that. Yeah.
Some people are like, well, they don't release group stuff. But my logic was, if Blackpink announced a stadium tour today, it would sell out.
It will sell out.
It would sell out.
Yeah, it would. They have that star power right now.
I think any group that you could say that about, I have to put them in S tier.
I think a big thing about Blackpink I can't ignore, even though I am not a fan of their music at all, is how much legacy they have created and how little they have done to tarnish it. Does that make sense? Like their legacy is still very much intact. Like if you look at groups like TVXQ, for example, where they had several controversies after their high moments of their career, you know?
Let's put it this way. There are groups on
Blackpink
this
is not
tier
like
list that have had full careers so far. We're
Right.
going to get to some like Red Velvet. We're going to get to Twice. We're going to get to Mamamoo, right?
Yeah.
Not all groups have maintained the level at their peak.
That level, yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Where I think
Relevancy,
Blackpink,
I guess, maybe, to some
no,
extent.
in terms of relevancy, I think Blackpink at this very moment, if you go around asking people who are the biggest girl group, Blackpink would still come up, even though they haven't released a solo, like a group song in a hot second.
Yeah.
Therefore, they have to be an S.
Okay, I agree with you there. Let's do an S. Anita, you okay with an S?
Yeah, but I would put them in S. I feel like, to me, it's not necessarily how constantly you're releasing content. I guess more like how successful and how impactful it is when you do. So I feel like Blackpink has kind of had that formula for a while.
The other thing is, we're making this podcast, I mean, this tier list based on August 4th, 2024, right?
Right.
So you have to think, you do have to take in, like, if a group hasn't come back in like 2 years, you do have to take that into account. You know what I mean?
I do take that into account, but if I think about how much people talked about Lisa when she came back.
I think there's no fall off yet at all.
At all.
In my mind.
Yet.
But they did announce that they're going to do the world tour next year, so they're going to be extremely relevant. I think there's one other group that's an obvious has to be an S at the moment. It's New Jeans. They have to be there.
Yeah. I think
there's no question.
with New Jeans, there was a definite bit of fall off with their. It was very noticeable in terms of the popularity with the recent events and then the performance of their last couple songs. But I don't think that changes very much. I think it's more of a sustainer rather than a shooter. Does that make sense?
What a sustainer than a shooter? Explain that better.
Like, it has, the recent couple releases has sustained their popularity. It might not have increased it per se, but definitely, sustained the amount of popularity they had.
Oh, you mean sustain? Okay, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think I said?
I don't know what I thought you said, but it wasn't that. Okay, so we now we have some tough questions, right?
Well, I see somebody missing in that S tier though.
Who? I don't think we're done with S tier.
aespa.
It's aespa. They have to be an S.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Their recent comeback has produced the song that is the longest all-time #1 song on iChart. This has been the most successful comeback of all time on paper.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
Am I crazy?
No, that's fair.
Public relevancy.
That's fair.
Sales, like just the general popularity. I feel like it's been very, very consistent.
Oh, bro, on my feeds on all the YouTube shorts, TikTok, it's like all aespa all day, and I'm not even the biggest aespa fan. It's crazy.
Is, like they're very lucky right now because if we did the tier list last year, I might have argued for A.
I take that back. This was the 7th most successful song on iChart. I take that back.
Still, that's pretty good.
It's still at 292 hours of perfect all kill at the moment, guys. So
that's
I do think if I think about who I want to put in A, they don't belong in A.
They don't belong in A.
You know, okay. I know. Are we done with S? I don't think we're done with S. Can I be honest?
I don't think we're done with S.
I have one more for S. Can you guess who?
One?
Why?
Just one.
Twice?
Yes,
Twice.
just twice.
Okay.
Did you guys see that Twice sold out the Japanese Dome tour they were doing over there?
Yes, I did see this.
That's crazy. That's fucking wild.
I think that some people like to say that like, oh, Twice is they've kind of fallen off. They're doing some solo stuff right now. I don't give a shit, to be honest.
That seems like the natural progression.
I think it's a natural progression of them doing that stuff. I think anytime they want to release group stuff, they're still doing concerts that are selling out completely. You can't argue with that. There are not that many groups that could do that at the moment.
I think if I think about how relevant, popular, how talked about the last Nayeon track was, that probably goes to say the brand value of Twice is still very relevant. I know people argue about the fandom size, like they have for the past decade now at this point. Like they have since Cheer Up. And I think I do have questions about how big or small that actual fandom is. But with Twice, I'm not gonna ignore how relevant it is right now to the general culture, pop culture in Korea, in Japan, in the K-pop scene in America. Like, come on, we talk about Twice. 9 years into their career, that's crazy. I think that's wild.
So, okay, speaking of Twice, if we're gonna put them in S, where are you gonna put Red Velvet? It's in A, isn't it?
I was gonna say A, yeah.
It is, right? Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy.
Am I crazy? But you know how the big three back in the day was Blackpink, Twice, and Red Velvet, right? That was what everyone talked about. Out of those three groups, am I crazy to say? I'm not saying they fell off the face of the earth, right?
Oh, no.
But the train has slowed down a little bit, right? Am I crazy?
I mean,
things happened. Yeah.
Even back then, if you really think about it, if you thought about Twice, Blackpink, and Red Velvet always felt like the group that's a little less popular, but they have better music.
I'm gonna say less in terms of.
I'm gonna say I love all of their albums.
They probably have the best songs out, the best like song catalog out of the three.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. They have the best music here. Yeah.
Does anyone disagree with putting them in A? It feels terrible. It feels terrible.
To me, I feel like they are if we're talking about Dreamcatcher being like the gatekeeper for like the higher tier groups, I feel like Red Velvet is the gatekeeper for S tier then.
Oh.
Where like I feel like they can be maybe like in the lower end of S or the higher end of A just because of their success.
I have a question
even though now. Maybe it's not S.
If we're putting Red Velvet in A, I have a question about two girl groups, which, like my S store is not closed yet. By the way, in my head,
what the fuck?
I know.
I think you have to talk about Le Sserafim and IVE hand in hand.
Yeah.
Where you want to put them?
Ah, shit!
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
All right, why don't I bring these?
You gotta bring them up both up there because for some reason in my mind, Le Sserafim and IVE are very similar at the moment.
To me, it's not as similar.
I think as popular as IVE is within Korea, because you know how popping off Yujin and Wonyoung is, right? In Korea, Le Sserafim has that same kind of thing in the West.
Anita,
you know
elaborate.
What I mean?
What do you mean you don't think they're a different level of popularity? What do you mean by that?
I think maybe like comparing stuff from last year, I would have definitely felt like, oh, seems pretty on par. But recently with things that happened this year with Le Sserafim, their comeback and like criticism, I've been waiting. I know that Le Sserafim's gonna come back pretty soon. So I'm kind of been waiting to see what they do with this one post all of that criticism and how the group does, because I don't know, I feel like at least in the Western media and like the comments that I saw, it wasn't great stuff.
Here's my counter argument.
Okay.
No one would be caring about them turning off their comments and all the hate if they were in an S tier girl group.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I feel like they were definitely up there for me before like without a doubt, I would have said like, yeah, S tier. And now I feel like I'm kind of questioning it.
I don't question
But-
it. I think they are so relevant. People talk about the Akpul or the bad comments and the comments people make about their singing and the documentary that came out this week. All people
yeah.
were talking about.
I think that's true. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna side with Anita here on this one.
Y'all are insane.
And in fact, I'm gonna do you another one and say I also want to put Ivan A tier.
You guys are insane.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I think I've had a tremendous year last year. I think they had a wild year last year. I am not sure if that same level has been maintained this year.
All I'll say is we could keep placing groups. Once we start placing these groups, you'll be like, oh, we should put them higher. That's what I'll say.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. We can move them. We can move them.
I'll let you do it now, but I'm going to inform you y'all are wrong. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, see, I'm tentative about it because that was just my first reaction. But like,
Let's do it. Let's do it. I got outvoted. Put them in A.
Man,
is
the salt
crazy.
is real.
TBD,
my guy.
to be determined.
This is crazy. Okay, then let's keep going. I'm gonna
There's
start
still
asking
B
you.
tier on top of.
I'm gonna ask you some difficult questions then, right?
Oh
Okay.
no.
Itzy and Nmixx, label mates. Where we putting them?
Itzy and Nmixx. There you go.
Ooh.
Do you want to talk about
Nmixx had
Itzy
a
first or
rise.
Nmixx first?
Let's put them up together because their stories are pretty much correlated.
I really don't think they are.
I think it's
Elaborate.
correlated in terms of how the company treats or views each of these groups. They're label mates. A lot of people are under the impression that since Leah took the hiatus, that kind of JYP has thrown them like into the basement, and they're all focusing on Nmixx. But they have a lot of traction right now because Leah is coming back for the upcoming comeback.
I have not seen a lot of this traction. I'll be very honest.
Are you crazy, man? Everyone's hype about this.
I will be very honest. We don't. I feel okay. I talked about this on a stream a couple weeks ago. I'll say it again. I think Itzy's popularity has somewhat plateaued. I don't see a big level of development happening anytime soon. Regardless of Leah. I think Leah coming back is amazing. I'm glad to have her back. I'm not gonna lie.
So where would you tier both of these groups?
I would stick an Itzy in B tier and Nmixx in A tier.
I would put them both in A personally.
But what do you feel like there's a difference between Nmixx and Itzy within the A tier though?
I mean, yeah, but I feel like one group is trying to decide if they're going up, down, or staying the same, while one group is on an upward trajectory in Nmixx. I think they're about meeting each other right now. You get what I'm saying? I think they're intersecting.
Ah.
That's my argument.
I don't have an issue with putting Nmixx in A tier, largely because their last comeback was pretty successful. The album sales, I don't know them off the top of my head. I'm not going to look them up per the rules, but I think they will not reflect the recent changes in popularity because they haven't had a comeback in half a year. I think once they do, numbers going to be big. I think they are definitely on the uptick, and we're already there. All we need is a comeback, and that's happening in like what, 2 weeks? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
That's why I think Nmixx is A tier, and then Itzy in B tier, and yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Anita, what do you think?
Oof. Okay.
Well, I feel like to me, like just on like a base sense of where I see these groups or if they come up in my like general consumption of music, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Nmixx has just been more out there with general public stuff, like just doing like variety, other stuff as promotion outside of just their content. Whereas Itzy, I have not seen it as much. And I don't know if maybe it's just not what I've been seeing, like not the algorithm showing me that, but I don't know. I guess my general sense was that I haven't seen Itzy as much, even though they are also coming back.
I got a
coming
question.
back?
Well, I got a statement. Itzy? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
With Leah. I literally said like 4 times.
Yeah.
I thought you just meant like Leah's back. I thought.
No. She came back, so they're announcing that they're gonna come back in the fall.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how my whole basis for this argument.
Okay.
You know, number one, if y'all are debating putting Itzy in B, aren't you thankful that we put Dreamcatcher in C?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if you're getting to this point, you see why I think they have to be in C.
Okay, I feel like I'm leaning towards putting both of them in A, but also figuring out who's in B and seeing if Itzy would be along that group.
If we're already thinking of putting either of these groups in A, you're gonna tell me they're on the same level as IVE and LE SSERAFIM?
I mean, with that logic, I wouldn't put aespa with Blackpink together. You know what I mean? I see them on the same tier, not exactly on the same levels as us.
I think S is like there's a line you just gotta cross. It doesn't matter how far you go past it. At least in my head, that's how I view it.
Okay.
Like you've reached the top.
If you want to really do that, like, I'm okay with sticking Nmixx in B and Itzy in C. I'm very okay with that.
You're insane. You're insane,
I'm
dude.
very okay with that.
You're insane. You're literally insane.
I think
if you
the
wanna
fact
do
that their career has plateaued a little bit, that's a big statement for me.
No.
Anita, is this insane? Is this crazy?
I mean, I was gonna say both in B at the most.
That's why I said Nmixx in A and Itzy in B. That's what I began with.
You're crazy for doing that. Wow. All right, Anita, I want to put both of them in A. Anita, what do you want to do?
I'm okay with that. I'm
right.
willing to rearrange because I don't know what we're doing in B.
Warren literally, guys, I clipped this. Warren said Itzy should go in C. Just wanted to let y'all know. That's what he said.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest here.
Okay, where do you guys want to put? We're missing one giant company right now in representation. Let's talk about some rookies. We'll talk about 2 rookies. They're not super related. Let's talk about 2 at a time. I-DLE and Baby Monster.
Oh, yes.
That's an interesting combination of folks.
Yeah.
Both rookies, such different narratives.
Yeah.
Okay, this is crazy. I-DLE has 1 song, right?
Me too.
But it's literally it's like in people's Song of the Year candidacy. You know what I mean?
It was that good.
It went crazy. Now, you cannot put them in S yet. That's too early. Let's not jump the gun here. Let's not be lunatics. They're in A or B, are they not?
I could argue them for A.
I feel like okay. My similar reasoning here is that they also, I mean, not by their fault, of course, but they were entangled in the whole.
Anita, I think you're putting too much weight in this entanglement because I don't think the public, cares about the entanglement, but I don't think it's affecting people's view of these groups because they think it's just the companies fighting each other.
I'm gonna heavily disagree with that, and I've seen the comments in the I-DLE videos. I'm gonna go ahead and say the West does not care as much.
The West, we don't give a shit about that.
Yeah. The West just generally does not care because they're siding with HYBE on this one. I think in Korea there has been a bit of a bump in their image a little bit, but that being said, albeit not as strong as the SSERAFIM. I don't think it'll be an issue going forward, but
okay.
I struggle to see them in S, for example,
So A?
I would A.
I think they're A.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I personally wanted to see another comeback to really solidify that, but it has been very popular, this debut.
I think debuting with a strong track just says a shit ton, you know what I mean? Like if
Baby Monster is impossible to tier, dude. It's
Do you want my honest take?
Yeah.
You want my really honest take?
Where are you gonna put them? You're insane.
Oh no!
Oh my
I'm
god.
just being very honest here.
You're
Vibes only. That's what he said. Vibes
He's
only.
asking for a death wish.
I'm just saying vibes only. That's what I said. That's what he said.
You're crazy.
That's what he said.
Dude, like
I didn't put them in F.
After aespa appearing on my algorithm, Baby Monster's the second most.
See, this is where I feel like there's I grapple with like the production, right? And like also like the quality of the members, because they're obviously very talented. But I'm just so disappointed in like the marketing, the how things have been handled with them as a group. I very much wish it was different, but
so I remember a number off the top of my head, right?
Yeah.
I remember Sheesh went like top, I think it was like 10th or 11th place on Melon. It ended up there. And I know this current song, Forever, is charting terribly. Like, I know that for a fact. I think it's in like the 90s or 80s or something like that. It's very hard, but it sucks that we don't have numbers, because I know this last the Baby Monster, the thing that Sheesh was on, the mini album or album or whatever, it sold over 500,000 in this day and age with the market decline. So people care about them. I don't know what this recent comeback, because I know it's not going too well, but they're at least B. Am I crazy?
oh, I was thinking. See,
They're B. They're
I was thinking at
minimum
least B.
At least
I
B,
don't
right?
know if I would
At
put
least
them
B.
below Dreamcatcher at this
Damn.
point.
Okay. I would say somewhere in the C tier.
Really?
I am coming up a little bit. Earlier I stuck them in D. Now I'm gonna put them in C a little bit.
I am dead set on the floor being B.
Because so much of the discord around Baby Monster is concerning. That's where my concern is coming from. Like, everybody is talking about, a lot of people talk about Baby Monster has either been, oh, like things are going to be better when this happens, or complaining about this is not going well. That's every time I see something about Baby Monster on Reddit, Twitter, whatever, or it's just, that's the vibe. That's the mood around Baby Monster at the moment.
But my argument is that at least people are talking about this. There are so many of these groups that have similar problems that no one gives a shit and no one makes any posts about.
Yeah.
Sure, but like
they're more relevant on K-pop discussions than like a lot of these groups.
Yeah, and like bad publicity is publicity, but like at what point does it become just bad publicity?
Honestly, the YG buff just puts them in B at a minimum.
I don't even know how big that YG buff is anymore. That's what I'm saying.
It's big.
Still?
Yes.
I say let's just put them in B for now. Compare where we are in like
put them in B, because you can talk about other groups and you can see that they're somewhat in the same boat with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I will put them in B because I have been outvoted here.
Because you know what's another group I want to put in B? Kiss of Life.
Kiss of Life A tier.
No, they've had one big song.
I would put them at the top of B. I would put them a little bit above Baby Monster, to be honest.
Everybody talks about Kiss of Life. It doesn't translate exactly into sales, but there's a lot of
everyone talks about Baby Monster based on what you said like 2 minutes ago.
And not in a good way.
But it's still talking about them.
And when people talk about Kiss of Life, they're like very positive about it. I think that says a lot.
I can't put Kiss of Life in the same tier as Ivan, LE SSERAFIM, and Red Velvet. I cannot. There's no way you can do that. You can't.
I think it's too soon. And
that's
the potential
ridiculous.
Definitely there.
That's ridiculous.
I couldn't keep them in the same tier with Itzy for that argument. Like, I would put them above Itzy in all honesty.
What? Oh my god. You've smoked, dude. You did a line of coke before we started recording.
Nope. Completely sober.
Let's put it this way. The only way I could even contend putting them in A is if you moved Ivan, LE SSERAFIM into S. Only way we could even have that conversation.
I've been contemplating.
If you want to do that at this point, I'm willing to back down so that I can put Kiss of Life in A tier.
Dang.
I think that's more of a reasonable argument. Am I wrong? I think that's more. I think because you think about this, I-DLE's had this one song that's popped off, right?
Right.
Kiss of Life with this latest track, Sticky. This is their pop off song as well, right? I know that Kiss of Life has had some other stuff before that, but in terms of like general popularity, relevance in Korea, they're both at about the same point.
Starting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're both.
Yeah,
the next song will determine if we move them up or down for both of them.
I think that's fair. I just think if I think about what I'm putting in A tier, I'm thinking about three things, right? I'm thinking about fandom power, I'm thinking about Western relevance, and I'm thinking about general public relevance. Kiss of Life has all of that. They have all of that.
They have shit album sales though.
I don't disagree with that. I just feel like I don't know if it's
Okay,
been
number one,
reflective.
move
yet.
Ivan Lasarf.
All right, fine. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
You have to.
right.
We can't have
I'm gonna
Ivan
say at
Kiss of
least
Life.
Ive. At least Ive.
We can't have Ivan in A when they literally did Lollapalooza today, I think. And we put Kiss of Life in the same tier with them. You know, we can't do that.
Vicho was going to be on Lollapalooza.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know exactly what I mean.
Okay. If this is now the tier list with Ivan Lasarf in S tier, can we put Kiss of Life in A tier?
I'll do it for now. Put them at the bottom of it, though.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. If I move Kiss of Life to B tier, I would argue Itzy and Nmixx move down to B tier with them.
Okay, but there's not much left to put in A. That's also a thing.
Okay,
That's okay.
Right?
Who?
No, I'm just saying in general.
Oh, okay,
there's not much left to put up there with them, you know, because there's 50 groups. We've done what, like 15? We got a long way to go, right?
God.
Yeah, we've done.
That's what I'm trying to say. Let's start with a group that I think. Okay, so let's name groups that we think are above the gatekeeper. That is Dreamcatcher.
All right,
or you know what I mean? That's a good thing.
I've got to be the guy who talks about QWER here. I think QWER, you stick them in A tier.
I think they're in B.
I think they're in A tier.
What's your argument for A, Warren?
They're missing the Western relevance, but the other two parts are so strong.
But they haven't sold any albums.
You're omitting your qualification for A.
They have wildly great general public relevance in Korea.
That's true.
Right.
They have a strong fandom part within Korea, and they don't have album sales yet. But I think it's up and coming at the moment.
I think they have more negative, like Kiss of Life, I-DLE, QWR, all groups that need one more track for us to really know where to put them, right? All three of them.
Right.
Do we agree with that statement?
Yeah.
Because I need to see if Kiss of Life can produce another song that's in the top 10. That's what I'm trying to say, Warren.
Okay.
I'm trying to say I need to see if I-DLE could produce another #1 song. I need to see if QWR can follow up Gominju.
You're looking for consistency.
I need a little more consistency, but at least with I-DLE and Kiss of Life, they function as traditional girl groups, so they do have the Western exposure. They can make album sales. QWR is a complete, there's way more unknowns for me.
Yeah, they're more of a band.
And I think that's why I was willing to put them in A, is yes, they don't have the Western relevance.
So you're saying more uncertainty puts them higher for you? Is that what you're saying?
No. Let me finish. I don't think they have Western relevance, but I'm okay with overlooking that because they are not built for Western relevance. You know what I mean?
But I don't think it's fair to judge one group different than the rest of these groups.
But I think they have positioned themselves very differently, whereas it doesn't make sense to judge them on the same. You know what I mean?
Well, if we weren't going to judge them the same, we shouldn't have included them on this list. That's my argument.
Yeah, I feel like because most of these are typical girl groups, right? So I feel like that's who the competition is for them, whether or not
the tier list is relative to each other.
Going for,
yeah, they're under the same criteria.
Okay,
so it's B, I think.
Fair.
That's fair, is it not? Right?
QWER at the same level of Baby Monster is fucking wild. That's
higher than Baby Monster.
Right, well,
No. They're in B with Baby Monster because Baby Monster sold 600,000, where QWER has probably sold 1,000, dude. That's why they're in the same thing. You're lucky we pull up QWER that's high because of their Korean relevance and because of how well their song did.
These are things that are.
But these are things that are canceling each other out. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I understand the argument. I will back down.
Yeah.
I will back down.
Okay, here's a group. People wanted us to put them in S. Some people were arguing that Triple S needs to go into S, and I thought they were smoking something.
Oh no, they're B at most.
That's my point.
I was thinking, since a common thing that we were talking about for the A group was that some of these groups could have we need another #1 hit, right, to solidify. I feel like that's how I sense it with Triple S, where they're gaining that popularity right now. They had a very successful last it wasn't even their last comeback.
They have NFTs, you know. They're structured very weirdly than the rest of the girl groups, right?
Yeah.
Where you know how You know how certain groups have niche fandoms within Korea, like a Dreamcatcher has a niche fandom because they're rock based.
Yeah.
Triple S has a super niche fandom because they want you to invest in the group literally as well. Do you know what I mean? Like they have a
fan involved.
built-in super fandom, right? Because people are literally trading their NFTs. I think they're B though. I think people care about Triple S. I don't think they've really super popped off yet though. They're starting to though.
I'll try to contemplate between. I'll try to decide for Triple S between a B and a C tier.
C.
But I think C's a little low. I'm not gonna lie, because like if I think about Dreamcatcher and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still stuck between a B and C tier. I could be convinced for either.
I think they're in B.
Anita, what do you think?
Anita,
I was thinking A or B.
A or B?
Bro.
Well, okay, as I was saying, I think some of the groups that we've put in A have that common factor of they've had like one really good song that popped off. They're kind of getting started. They're pretty new groups. Triple S kind of fits that criteria too.
What is
I
their
don't know. I feel like
song? Girls Never Die?
Was that one? No. It was the one where all of them
La la
came.
la la la.
Warren, they all have
All the
laws.
songs. They
Every
all
single
have
song
that.
has
I
laws.
know, but you know which one that is.
I don't recall off the top of my head because I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I do remember that it popped off. It was when they were all coming together, like all the units were.
You're talking about the one they released at the top of last year, 2023. The one they released as 12 people, not 24.
Correct.
Girls Never Die.
Why don't we
I
look
don't
that up?
remember.
Triple S.
Let's clarify that. What was the number one hit?
All right.
Is it not
So
Girls
far.
Never Die? I'm pretty sure
I think
that's
Girls
the
Never Die
song.
was more successful than their 12-person release.
Was it?
Yeah, their 12-person Assemble 24 was the one that came out this year. Girls Never Die. Da ba 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 da 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 da. That thing. And then Assemble had Rising.
Let's put it this way. The fact that we have to look this shit up means it's not stuck in our minds too much.
So B?
I think they're in B.
Okay, let's go with a B for
I
Triple
think
S.
Okay, I wanted B. Anita said A or B. Warren said B or C. The average is B.
That's true.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Right? So that's stuck there.
All right. Anita, is
Promise
there...
Nine's... Oh,
You want to talk about Promise 9?
they're B. That's all I have to
A little
say.
bit. Yeah. Couple.
Okay, I'm trying to think, right? Because it could be also C.
C.
Because let's be honest, I love Promise 9. I love their music. There's a reason they are not actively coming back at the moment.
I think Promise 9 is way more relevant on a bunch of these metrics than Dreamcatcher is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because I
that's
mean,
fair.
I think the Promise 9
Promise
popularity
9
has kind of gone down, but it's not.
Promise 9 and Stacy
Still
are around
relevant.
the same area for me in my head.
Oh,
I think they're both,
shit.
and I think they're
Really?
both, and I think they're both in B. And now I get that some people don't like Cheeky Icy Thang and other songs like that. But let's put it this way: like a Stacy and a Promise are going to get invited to like KCON all the time. Dreamcatcher is not.
They were invited.
Okay, I think your argument where we compare them against Dreamcatcher makes sense. I'm okay with sticking both Stacy and Promise 9 on B.
I think it's like it makes sense in my head.
Yeah, no, I get that too.
Yeah, I had a. I don't know if I agree with Stacy and B.
Where do we
but-
know stick Stacy?
You want Stacy and C, Anita?
No, higher.
Hey, no.
What?
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. I feel like I will be the first to recognize that the latest comebacks have not been my cup of tea, really. But I think the trajectory that Stacey had, at least in the beginning of their career, like soon after debut, it felt pretty strong. Like they've had more than one song where I felt like, yeah, it popped off. It was catchy. People knew it, even if they weren't like huge fans of Stacey. That's where I was debating the B placement, but
I think I will agree with you that Stacy is closer to A than a lot of these groups. But I still think that they're just a little. They need to get back on track, and I'll put them in A. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
they're one pop-off. They're one good song away, in my opinion.
I am not going to ignore how I feel about Stacy with the last couple releases. Just like that alone, I think I gotta keep them in B for that.
Kepler.
All right.
Kepler?
Kepler? You want to talk about Kepler?
You know, okay, so we lost Yeso and Mashiro, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thought we're effed, right? But then they released that banger of a song. But I don't think it really helped that the song was that good in terms of sales because, you know, in K-pop, a lot of the sales are before the song comes out, right? So it's a very confusing situation for them. Lineup shift, good song, weak album sales, tough, right? Very tough.
I know we're not using metrics as a way to measure this thing here, but a key thing that stands out to me as a bit of a pink flag for Kepler right now, to me, is their decline in sales.
Yeah, it's been.
Oh,
pretty drastic.
didn't we establish that almost everybody was going through that?
Everybody
No,
has.
but some-
Kepler
some-
started a
but
while ago.
Some groups it's like worse than others because people were under the impression that Kepler wasn't going to renew, so a lot of people jump ship.
Not only that, I think, okay, quick side note about the album sales deflation. Like, yes, that has been happening in the past year or so. Kepler's deflation has been happening a little earlier than that. Before, when everybody's was like bubbling up, Kepler's, I didn't see them go through that kind of process. There was a bit of a larger bump and then they started dropping down a little bit. That's the way I remember their increase in popularity. I cannot speak to how exactly big or small the Kepler fandom is. I know that there are a lot of casual fans. I don't know how much they're actually buying albums or such. But I'm not going to ignore that level of popularity. Like, people still talk about Kepler. People still know who is in Kepler. People are still interested in the members who are joining what is now called Maiden, right? So
Right.
for all of that, I would stick them in B.
At the tail end,
At the tail end of B, yeah.
I agree with that.
Like, if I look at who else is in B, From S9 and Triple S, I think that makes a whole lot of sense, you know?
I kind of feel that way as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna. This is one of the weird ones. Where are you gonna put XG?
Doug, you go first. I know you're a big XG X gal.
No,
over here.
you put them in B. Is the right answer?
Really?
Really?
Yes. I know the music's good. I know we believe in the product and the behind the scenes. I'm talking like they are lacking in the Korea department heavily.
They are. But see, sometimes I don't know. I know we've had the debate of whether it's K-pop or not. I mean, and the fact that we're including them in this,
No, for the sake of this, they're K-pop
They're
right
K-pop.
now. We're talking about them
Yeah.
in terms of being K-pop right now. You got it's A or B, right? I think you weigh
Yeah.
how good the music has been and the team and everything behind them, right? But at the same time, they're very relevant in the West, but not very super relevant in Korea itself, right? Kind of niche in Korea itself.
I feel like XG should be the gatekeeper for B.
I agree. And
I
I
can
think
see
that
that.
they're a little bit like, but at the same time, how many of these groups can book like Madison Square Garden Theater and sell it out? You know,
Did they sell it out? I actually don't know.
it's sold out.
Oh, nice. Good for them.
Wow.
That's good. That's
They-
good.
So
that's like
the
five.
thing.
That's like a 5,000. I don't know how many thousand seater. I think it's like 3,000, something like that. If I had to guess off the top of my head, I could look that up. That's not a K-pop metric.
But if I go back to my internal criterion, for A tier, I gotta have Western relevance, general public relevance, and Korean fandom presence.
Okay, it's a 5,000 seater. It's a 5,000 seater.
XG is missing two of that very critically. I think the way they marketed themselves in the earlier part of their career has kind of impacted them a little bit.
I'll put it this way. If we're talking about groups that I think are good, they'd be an S. Based on this, and we're talking about relative to these other groups, they're the top of B.
Yeah.
I could see it.
I think they've got a banger discography. But like, if we're going off the discography, I'd put Red Velvet in S as well. So
Like
I
if
feel
we
like
were
Rose-
if we were making the KCON lineup, they would perform around the time these groups, all these other groups in B would perform.
And they have.
Yeah, right. That would make sense to me.
yes.
For the most part. For the most part.
I was thinking about the exceptions, but yes, for the most part, yes.
Okay, let's talk about a group that's already peaked, but we still they're in this thing. Oh My Girl is a tough one. Because in reality, they've never been more general public relevant than now. Like in reality, because a certain member is on a not PD TV show, and everyone knows who she is in Korea at the moment. But in the West, probably less people know about them than ever
That's
before,
true.
other than Dolphin, right?
If I'm
Yeah.
honest, I think that was a while ago. If in a general,
It was a while ago.
I don't think that's the case anymore. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
You would put it in C? You would put Oh My Girl in C? That feels terrible, does it not?
I feel like Till on the B. I'll be honest with you.
Because let's get to this. If you're gonna talk about Oh My Girl and groups that we're not really sure, Uju Sonyo's in the same boat with them, right?
No.
Uju Sonyo would end up in C. Oh My Girl would end up at the tail end of B, right?
That's exactly what I was getting at. That's exactly what I was
Right?
getting at.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
All right, let's do Oh My Girl here. B.
And I think Uju Sonyo,
Cosmic Girls.
if they had more comebacks, they'd be in B, but they don't. That's the sad truth.
Oh man, I think Cosmic Girls is off doing their solo things right now. They're off. Everyone's off there doing their own.
One
little things.
girl decided to drive tractors and stuff like
Sure.
that, heavy machinery.
And
Yeah.
Yeonjung is over there doing musicals. I think a lot of them have solid solo careers at this point. They are still relevant within the community. But I think in order to carry the Cosmic Girls, Uju Sonyo brand relevance throughout, these solo careers need to be a little more notable. That's what I think. With that in mind, I would probably say C or D.
C or D? No,
let's start
C.
with C. Let's start with C.
C. What the F, Warren?
Y'all are tame as shit. Oh, fine, G, D tier. I guess I'm the
Okay,
only one
here's
getting
another
shit
tough
on
one.
this day.
A-Pink at this point. Do
Oh.
people even know who they are outside of the old heads?
Oh wait, no, that's what the fuck? That's Generation. Oh shit.
Girls' Generation, exactly.
It's
And the thing about A-Pink is they release more content than some of these groups. They do.
They do.
They always release anniversary songs and things like that, right? Like they actually do.
But we're talking current A-Pink, right? Not legacy A-Pink.
It's C. Is it not?
It's Itzy?
No, it's C. They're
Oh.
C.
Oh, C.
Oh.
Oh, C.
I was like, it's
They're in C. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I could see that. It hurts me a little because I feel like their earlier discography was like top tier.
They haven't had a really
But-
popular song since like Dum Da Dum, which was 4 or 5 years ago.
It has been.
Okay, yeah. I thought about it for a second. The only argument that I might put them in B for, and I know we're kind of getting a B crowded area here. I could put them in B, given that Jung Eun-ji is she's acting.
People who know A-Pink know her. People who don't have no clue who she is. Man.
Yeah, I feel like she hasn't quite been
That's the
in
truth
as many
of
roles
this.
as before.
All right, look, I tried. Let's stick them in C. All right.
Hey, you know what else I think is C? Artemis. It's C.
And by Artemis, we're also talking about Odd Eye Circle.
Odd Eye Circle. I think there's a lot of Western fans, but I think it's C. I don't know
Wait,
why. It
well,
just,
you gotta pull up Lusemble then too. Where do
Oh,
we
you
gotta
want to
pull-
talk about those two?
Lusembles below them. If I'm gonna wherever I put Artemis, there's a gap. There's a gap to Lusemble.
I agree.
There is.
I agree. Yeah, I'd say Artemis C, Lusemble D.
I think so. I really think so.
I mean, yeah.
Anita,
I have,
provide
like,
your
more
provide your
ones.
counter.
No, I don't really have a counter. I'm just comparing. Like, general traction and how some of the releases were received, to my perspective, was that Artemis stuff content has been doing a little better than Lusambo.
I mean, that's
why.
Artemis still has Jaden, right? Odd-Eyed Circle was always the most popular unit. Artemis also has Heejin and Hustle, right? Like, I don't think they're on the same playing field as much as that hurts me.
If I'm very honest, I think the name Lusambo is a terrible name.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
It's fucking terrible. It's just like you're just hinging on Luna and assembling Luna. Yeah. Artemis over here is like trying to create a new career. I respect that. You know, you got to make what you got and then move on. That alone, I think, says a shit ton about their production team. Artemis in C, Lusambo in D.
Yeah.
Our D and F tiers are kind of looking a little empty here. You want to start talking about some of them?
You want to just throw a bunch of ones in F real quick?
All right, let's go Rocket Punch in F. Fuck that.
Rocket Punch is the gatekeeper of F. It is, right?
Oh,
Fuck that.
man.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck that.
It is.
Fuck that.
It is.
Fuck you, Willem. This is what you did to
So
me.
much potential that was lost.
is what you
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
it was
Warren,
sad.
Lapillus, throw them in there.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah, stick them in
Also
there.
very sad about
Yeah, Rocket
that.
Punch. This is where you belong now, next to Lapillus. Yeah.
Lightsome, throw them in there.
Also the lost potential.
All right, light them in F tier.
Limelight / Maiden, throw them in there.
Did we put them there already though?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
They haven't debuted you with the new members yet.
Even though,
But I'm thinking about Limelight as well, you know?
You would put them in D. I like that. I like that argument.
Yeah,
honestly.
I
talk
might-
me
yeah.
out of it. Talk me out of it, sir. Please.
Buddy, they got 2 girls coming from Kepler.
But okay, not yet. I know they got press photos now.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Okay.
Do you want to? Do you want to optimistically put them in D?
I want
Is that what you're saying?
I want to be
Yes.
optimistic for once in my life and put them in D.
Okay.
I'm a water half empty, half full kind of guy.
wow, really?
Let's do this.
I thought you were a realist.
I'll put them in D if you agree to put like Wua, Purple Kiss, and Heike also in D.
Oh no, we're all in F.
No,
Real what?
no.
Okay,
I
no,
agree with
not
that.
all, not all. Let's wait.
You
who did
agree with
mention?
those ones, Anita, right? You
Okay.
agree with
Yeah, I
those
do.
ones?
Purple Kiss and who?
Heike,
High key.
and Wua.
Okay,
They're
okay,
D.
that is where I drew the line. Purple Kiss, High key,
What?
D tier. Wua, F tier.
Really?
If-
What? What?
What?
What do you mean? What?
I don't agree.
I think you're
Wait,
underestimating.
what's
Yeah.
your argument for Ua not being D?
But my vibe's off.
All
They
I'm
did not
saying
pass
is
my vibe check.
I think you're underestimating how popular Nana is alone.
I was gonna say Nana being in
She's like super popular.
Okay.
the Queendom show.
Okay, Heike had that song that Young K wrote that popped off.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They're in D.
true.
Put
Yeah.
them up there. Purple Kiss has always had some life to them, right? It just feels like
yeah.
that.
They've got good sales. Yeah.
They got good sales. Put them in there. I swear to God, bro, Wua has to be in D. Am I wrong?
Because of Nana alone? Dude, I don't think Nana's as popular as she was a year
Listen
ago.
to this. I'll put them in D and I'll argue Young Posse should go in D, Warren. Dude, I'm gonna make a trade here.
Oh man, that pains me because I was getting ready to put Young Posse in C.
Oh,
What? No.
I was hyping myself for C tier.
You're crazy.
you preparing?
You're
I was hyping
crazy.
myself up.
Anita, no way, right?
wait! I want to see where this goes.
Cook. Yeah,
All right.
cook this up
All
for
right,
me.
let me pull up
We'll let you cook for a
Young Posse
bit.
over here with their.
There's no way.
Upcoming
There's no way.
Hear me out. Young Posse over here is doing something nobody else has done in the whole industry so far.
No
I see
way,
the
dude.
argument, the comparison with Dreamcatcher, I guess, where like very unique sound and concept.
Right. They have positioned themselves very interestingly and uniquely in this industry where I see so much growth.
Here's one reason, right? I remember when we covered these groups, Young Posse sells like under 5,000 albums, where Wua sells 25 plus.
Okay.
It's like 10 times difference. That's a 10 times difference.
Also, I feel like to me the difference would be if Young Posse can start getting more of the general
That's a
public,
10x
like
difference,
winning
sir.
music shows, getting some of that popularity. Because that's where I feel like C kind of starts to scratch the surface. Where like we got some music show wins, some general public recognition.
Okay, here's
don't know
where
if
I
Young
bring up
Posse's there
general
yet.
public relevance because I am active on the Korean internet, Instagram, all these internet boards, you know, these things. People don't talk about Nana or Rua anymore. That is not a thing. People talk about Young Posse. Look at these weirdos.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, but they just talk about them, but they don't do anything to actually support them.
Okay,
though.
but are you opposed to putting them both in D then? You're very strongly putting Young Posse in C.
I am, again, willing to come down and put both of them in D.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
let's
all
do
we
that.
want. That's all we
I'm
want.
just defending my argument. It's like, give me
No, I can
Okay.
see. To be honest, if they
Those
win
are
a
the
music
crazy
show, I
person.
would say C too.
Do you want to have a large Mamamoo discussion right now, guys?
I was
okay.
not ready. for
This
a
is one of the
moment.
groups I didn't want to talk about. I want to, yeah. Also, Dragon, VVZ too. And Kara. Those are three groups that I'm very confused about.
Okay.
Okay.
Those are very different arguments you gotta have.
I know they're very different arguments, but we got to go through these three because
Alright.
I don't know where to
Which
put
one
them.
do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Mamamoo.
Okay.
The post everyone being at RBW Mamamoo run has not been too great, objectively.
As soloist or as like coming back as
Generally,
a group?
In general,
I agree.
the solo, the one performance they had when the government called on them to perform at the Boy Scout thing.
Oh,
you know, even though they're like not actively performing together.
The World Scout
right?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
World Scout.
Jamboree.
The
Like, they-
Jamboree, yes.
They haven't released anything together since the I-DLE song in like 3 years ago.
And I fully recognize that they have had a following and that they have a decent legacy. I fully
Right?
acknowledge that.
For sure.
But we're talking right now. What are you doing for me?
Current event.
Okay.
Their last big song was Dinga in 2020.
If you think about Mamamoo, right? They have solo careers. They certain
Yes.
members have solo careers. Hyeon's coming to America. I don't see anybody talking about Hyeon coming to
Nice.
America. But she is. Hwasa is the person who kind of kept them popular, kept them relevant. People talked about Hwasa, you know? That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
That has, since a certain point, gone down a little bit.
I agree.
I think people still know who Hwasa is. My mom knows who Hwasa is.
Well, if you told me
Right.
what has she done recently, I have no clue.
No clue.
No clue.
No clue. And I fully apologize for not keeping up with Hwasa. But at the same time, the last thing I recall seeing Hwasa on the mainstream news is people were very pissed off about what she wore. And like I'm like, that's such stupid news.
You're
I don't need
right.
to read
I
about
remember
this.
that news.
Yeah, we talked
For
about
a
it on the show.
concert, right?
It was
Yeah.
like she was invited to a show and she
Yeah.
pulled up and did the Hwasa thing, and then from some dumb fuck PTA was like, oh, too explicit to my children, you know, like it was some bullshit.
They're. I would put them in C at this point. Yeah,
You know what?
put them there.
I felt very weird about that, but I also see A-Pink on that list, and I
That's-
see
that's
Cosmic
what I was
Girl on
gonna
that
say.
list, and I'm like, okay, I don't feel crazy about not putting them in C.
You got to
But
put
who
them there.
knows? They could have another wave.
Oh no, of course they could
Group.
come back and they could do well, but
Anything
at the
could
moment
change.
they're not.
I argue Baby Monster belongs in D. They could be S in a week.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Okay,
Y'all talk about VVZ first. VVZ. They had a great start.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Maniac.
they did.
Maniac did pretty well. It was not that long ago.
They're at a minimum C. At a minimum,
I argue B.
you argue B.
I argue B.
I can see B.
I argue B. That Maniac
Yeah.
thing, not too long ago, people liked it.
You know what? VVZ seems bigger. Like the groups in here that are like really actively promoting are Artemis and Dreamcatcher. VVC is bigger than them.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Put them there.
All right.
I think that feels right.
We have the only active second generation queens at the moment.
And I don't think anyone under the age of 25 knows who they are. Sadly.
I like Mister. I like Lupin. I like Jump
That was
Up.
a while ago, though.
I like.
Do we want to give a veterans C to them? Like put them in that tier, the ones we're not sure of? Because I'm not putting them in D, dude. I can't.
Okay, no. Here's the thing with Kara, and here's the thing with Kara that I have trouble estimating off the spot here without doing further research is Kara's relevance in Japan.
That's exact. I was gonna say, can they do a Japanese tour right now? And I think it would probably sell.
I keep hearing things about how wildly it's apparently still a household name in Japan, which makes sense. Kang Ji-young's been super active, you know.
I
Kara
would
was
put them in. Yeah.
yeah. They were essentially the largest pop stars in Japan less than a decade ago. Yeah.
I think they're C. I think they could sell way bigger crowds than everyone in DNF in Japan easily. And Korean relevancy, people know who they are. It's this West. It's the West where they're lacking.
I'll be
for
very
sure.
honest. I was thinking C at least, B at most.
I think C.
Anita, what do you think?
I mean, I'm looking at that's kind of where some of the older groups that have not been as active are landing. And Kara has had a recent comeback, but I agree. It's been a minute, and because it was such a long gap, it's just not.
We're not gonna piss anyone off but Malfiar if we put them in C. So we gotta put them in C.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the other way to look at it. If I think about the second generation groups that were their peers back then, and if I were to kind of simulate in my head what would happen if they come back now, I feel more comfortable with putting them in C.
I think they're in C.
Because if you think about, if like, for example, if Big Bang came back, if Girls' Generation came back, you know, if TR came back, you know, I feel like we would see, C.
At least C. I feel like some of those names might be higher.
I
but-
think those names would be in A and B. That's why I'm saying
right.
C.
There's
Okay.
3 groups that I think have an argument to put them in C, and I'll list them. Everglow, Weekly, and Billy. We need to talk about those 3 groups.
Everglow, Weekly, and
and-
Billy. Okay.
I agree with one, maybe. I think.
I think Billy.
I was gonna say Billy.
Out of those 3, I think Billy is the most C out of them.
Billy had a great start. They did.
They did.
They did.
Yeah, but I don't think they're bigger than Dreamcatcher yet. You know, significantly.
Okay.
I mean, at this moment,
To play the devil's advocate, Tsuki has power.
oh yeah,
Tsuki is still very popular. I don't think she is as talked about as she was about a year ago per se, but she's still very relevant. That's where I almost see them in the same level as Oh My Girl. Everyone
No,
knows
I
about
think-
Billy. They have good fandom power. They have great Western relevance.
They're C, dude. C. I think they're C.
Elaborate on why I'm wrong.
I can't put Billy in the same tier as like Baby Monster and Stacy. I can't.
Oh, I could.
Just not
I would
gonna
put them
happen.
above Baby Monster, but that's me.
No, you're bugging, dude. It's not gonna. I ain't putting them in the same tier as XG. I ain't putting them in the same tier as Triple S. I'm
Oh
putting
My
them in the
Girl and
same tier.
DVZ though. Okay.
Yeah, but that's the tail end of that. That ain't the majority of that.
and I see Billy as the tail end of B, is what I'm saying.
no,
Here's the
I don't
thing,
think
though.
there's,
When I
I don't
com-
think they're significantly more relevant than Dreamcatcher is.
you're bringing up Oh My Girl though. When I think of Oh My Girl within
They
the
had
time
Dum Dum
frame that
Dum.
we're thinking of,
Yeah.
they're a little bit higher, I think. So Billy to me feels okay in C
Right,
at the moment. At the moment,
Okay.
I feel like
We'll put
There's
B in,
room.
B in C tier. Billy in C tier.
I think Billy is close to being in B. I think they're extremely close.
I think they're in the
Not-
upper end of C. Yeah.
I think they're very close, but I think that now I don't. I think that Dreamcatcher and Billy to me are somewhat similar at the moment. I don't know. It just feels that way. Now we got to talk about 2 groups that kind of fell off a little bit lately, guys.
they did.
Everglow and Weekly. Of those 2, which of the 2 do you think would you put above the other one, if between these 2
Weekly.
names?
My heart says Weekly,
Weekly.
but I feel like Everglow had more fandom power at some point now than weekly.
Can you say that they're on the same level as like Odd-Eyed Artemis
No.
or a Dreamcatcher or
No.
a Billy? Either of those groups at
No.
this point?
No.
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 You don't feel comfortable with
No.
that?
I think they are both D, if not F.
Whoa!
Okay, oh, not. I wouldn't say F.
I'm okay. I know I've been dropping a lot of hot takes. I'll keep on going. Weekly in
Plenty,
D,
yes.
Everglow in F.
Oh,
Weekly in D, Everglow in F.
I'm on the I want to put them both in D.
I think that's more generous.
I think
Yeah.
Everglow, their last couple years in the basement has really fucked them up. And it's not Everglow's fault. That's all I'll say. It's not their fault.
I don't think like
I don't put them
Lucemble
with
is
like
significantly-
Lapillus.
I don't think Lucemble is doing so much better than Everglow to justify like them not being in the same tier.
Lucemble has a lot of opportunity for redemption at the moment. They have got a great opportunity ahead of them. They got
I'm
great
not
careers.
talking about this whole thing's not talking about future prospects. It's talking about right now. You know.
Okay, yeah, even then. I think Lucemble's doing they're a lot more popular than Everglow.
I gotta
Talk to me
Anita, what
about
do
the
you
last
think?
Everglow comeback.
I mean, they're not great objectively.
I mean, to me, here's the thing though. I feel like both of these groups, I feel like, had a very, very strong start, right? Like the first couple of songs were very,
At a
very
certain
popular.
point, Weekly would have been like, "Oh, they're one song from being in B." You remember back
were.
then?
At one point, I thought they were gonna be like on par with Stacy. That's what the
Yeah,
trajectory
yeah.
looked
Felt
like.
like it was, yeah. They felt like
Yeah,
all the B.
the time-
and then they released Ven Para Ak, and it all went downhill.
Yeah, I mean, it was a successful, like a series of not so great songs that kind of trended downwards a little bit. So I feel like I would say D because I feel like
Okay, I think we all agree on Weekly in D.
No,
Okay.
Anita and I both put Everglow in D, and if
I
you
was
put them
gonna
in
say-
F, you're still overruled, dude.
for the same reason Everglow has had like a downward trajectory as well, but the fandom is not like gone. Like they had like a couple music show wins within
Anita,
the time
you're
frame that we
DD?
cover them. I was
Okay, if you guys are
Leaning
both
towards both of
DD,
them in
I'll
D.
keep them in
DD.
D. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I was going one by one, Doug.
they're DD,
Alright.
dude.
Okay.
DD. What do we got left?
We've got some interesting ones. Can you talk about 50-50 and BB Girls?
50-50.
Talking
okay.
about more uncomfortable
50-50.
conversations.
Yeah, uncomfortable. Let's get it.
Let's talk about BB Girl first.
BB Girls, they lost one of the members, right? She's
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
Who is arguably the
they-
most popular member.
They left Brave. They switched the name because Brave kept it because it doesn't make sense to be Brave Girls when you're not at Brave.
Yeah.
They released a song or two. Didn't do well at all.
Not
It's not going well.
If I think about BB Girls, they are a group that is wildly popular with the older folks. And by older folks, I mean people who are older than Doug and me and Anita. You know, there are people who are older than us. I think in that aspect, that whole area feels a bit more of a gray zone where I don't know what is exactly relevant to them and not relevant to them. At the same time, I don't think their music has been amazing. The numbers I saw were not very promising. The fact that they are missing what we saw as their most popular member and general public friendly member, relevant member, the fact that she's missing says a lot, I think. And I think, yes, they had Roland. Yes, they had a couple songs that were somewhat popular. Chima Bottom, for example.
Chima Bottom, We Ride, right? Was another one.
We Ride came after Roland, but like it was still before they popped off.
Yeah.
All of that being considered, I think they have plateaued terribly. If
How
that makes any
terribly?
sense.
How terribly?
If I okay. Earlier I said Itzy plateaued, and by that I meant they did this.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit of a upper curve exponential, you know? Yeah. I'm trying to explain to our audio folks. With BB Girls, however, it feels like they did a huge, and then they hit a huge bump, and then kind of like that.
Oh, you say we're back to square one.
Or kind
right?
of back to where we began.
Where they were like, no one cared.
You know
right?
what? I will say this, at least. Where they...
All right, then they feel like a D then, right?
I'm okay with a D.
I think they're a D.
I was gonna say because to me, I feel like they're still very like general public recognizable at least.
Yeah.
But nobody
people
gives a
over
shit
there.
about their last releases.
Right.
True. But I don't think they're in such like a terrible position like some of the other group.
You gotta talk about
Pretty.
the group that was 4 people, then 1 person, then now 5 people coming back in
Okay,
September.
if Triple S had released Cupid and it popped off, and then they released another song, and they didn't have this lawsuit, and the song was just okay, they would be like a C to a B.
We're
right?
talking about 50-50, right?
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
If 50-50 released Cupid, popped off, tremendous. They released another song. It was like if they were on the crayon pop trajectory, right? If we were one song after Ba Ba Ba, right? More or less.
Yeah.
They would be like B or C, right?
Yes.
If that was the case. But it's not the case. They have new members. No one gives a shit. People still listen to Cupid, but that's about it. It's bad, right? This is rough.
I mean,
This is I want to put them in D until I'm proven wrong. With the next song.
I think, personally, I understand that the Western side was very, I think a lot of the folks in Korea at the moment are still willing to give whatever 50-50 comes back with a shot.
You would put them
there
in
will
C.
be eyes on it for sure.
There was a lot of eyes on it, and I think until that fails and proves that 50-50 is dead, we keep them in C.
Okay, I'll
If not B.
C.
I was okay with D. Okay. C.
Oh, you were okay with D?
So Warren said B or
Yeah.
C. I wanted to do C or D. Anita wanted to do D. Kind of feels like it's C.
We're gonna keep them in C, and this could change. We'll have
C
to
is
see.
our-
White
C-
liberal right there. Okay.
C is like our gatekeeper, dreamcatcher, and a lot of uncertainty. Is it not?
It really is.
It really is. Okay, so we talked about Purple Kiss. We talked about High Key. We did that.
All
Baby
right.
Girls.
Let's talk about a couple of these.
I got one more. Vicha.
Where is Vicha?
Cat's eye there.
Are they?
Cat's Eye
Yeah, put Cat's Eye
All right,
too, dude.
let's do the 2
Get them down here.
Americans.
No, let's get all the confusing international groups. Drag down Niziu as well.
All
Let's
right.
talk about all 3 of these groups.
yes.
1 Japanese, 2 Americans. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where
One-
we start with this shit, dude.
Okay. I have opinions. Because
Okay,
I think
okay.
one of the 3 is definitely doing a lot better
I agree.
in
Niziu.
comparison.
Niziu.
Yeah.
Dude, that Korean song that they released this year was fire.
It was really good.
And they're doing well in Japan, obviously.
Very well.
But in Korea, we've only had the 1 track, I believe, right? The Heartress, the Tetris song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
That
was
was
really
really
good. But I don't know how relevant they are. The music's good. I feel like it's tough with them, right? Because, if you think about people listening to their Japanese stuff, then they get a really big boost, right? They're doing extremely well then. But if we grade them based on a pure K-pop perspective, I feel like they're in C.
I feel like, and I'm gonna make the same argument I did for QWER earlier, and you tell me if I can make this argument or not. Because Niziu debuted as a Japan first group, I'm not gonna think about the Korean general public relevance. I'm gonna think about the Japanese public relevance, which for Niziu, as far as I understand, is not low. In fact, I believe it is very high. I believe that Niziu
Quite
is
good. Yeah.
Very
they've
relevant with these teams.
Every one of their releases is like a top 10.
It is.
Yeah.
Given all of that, I can't make the argument that they belong anywhere CDF. They at least B, if not A.
I was gonna say put them in C because it's uncertainty, but if I had to choose between not CDF, they're B.
Anita.
Well, see, I'm comparing them to another group that I feel like maybe not necessarily marketed the Japanese audience first, but like XG, right? Where they're not necessarily aiming for the typical K-pop audience, but I don't know. I still feel like it's relevant. And in that case, I feel like Itzy could be in B, but I don't know that they've hit like the Western market or have been as big.
For all of our audio listeners, I just want to let people know Doug is now peeing. He went to the
Yeah,
toilet.
he couldn't hold it in.
He couldn't hold it. He messaged me and me and Anita, and he said, "I gotta pee." So without him in the room, B tier.
I mean, that's where I'm sensing
B-tier.
it. Like I'm
B-tier.
not.
That's what it feels like. We're going off the vibe.
High C.
I see
can't
them.
ignore how big they're in Japan.
I see them as a QWER, but in Japan. That's what I'll say.
Oh. Okay, I'll put them in B.
Doug, I let everybody know where you were.
I almost peed my pants.
You could have told us we gotta take a pee break.
I think they're in B.
All right.
If you ever look up how they're doing in Japan, you'll see that they're extremely relevant there.
We got the.
I think it evens out.
We got the Hype Americans, and then we got the JYP Americans.
You know that the thing about both of these groups is I've liked a lot of the songs from them. I kind of like this Cat's Eye joint. I've been listening to it all week.
Really? Okay.
It's catchy. I'll say that.
I will admit, regardless of how I feel about Cat's Eye's last two releases, they have been even though I don't pay any attention to them on TikTok, they are all
they're
over my
all the
fucking
time.
TikTok.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
Every time I see them, I'm like, I don't like this song. Swipe. They're like, they keep showing up on my For You page. Like, I'm like, damn. I think that says something. I think B tier at least.
Really?
No,
I was gonna say C.
No, C.
Oh. Man, okay, jeez.
Okay. My reasoning for C is that they haven't really had that much, like a big breakout song. Like we're just getting there. They're testing out like the concept and properly having a debut because they've only had like 1-2 releases.
That's fair.
So I feel like at most C, I would say. Because I like what's going on, but I haven't been convinced yet. Vicha.
Yo.
Well, see, Vicha I thought was doing okay, but then recent events have me questioning.
Here's the thing: like, if I don't know where they are, like I don't know what they're up to.
Because of the uncertainty on August 4th, 2024, when we're recording, I would, if there was an uncertainty, I would put Cat's Eye and Vicha in the same, because I don't think one's doing significantly better than the other. But because of all the uncertainty, I would put Vicha at the top of D. Honestly.
I think D as well.
Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like today, as of today, yeah.
All right.
What do we got left? Bad Villain, Signature, Pixie, Try B. I think one of those. Okay, I got a take, right?
Okay.
I think one of those groups should be in D, and the rest of them should be in F.
Who is your D pick? I think I have one. Do you want to say it together when I count to 3?
Yeah.
All right. Anita, you want to do it too?
Wait. One
of these is D tier, and the rest is F.
The rest of them are in F.
Right. 1, 2, 3. Bad
Try
Villain.
B.
Oh wait, what?
All right. Nobody said Pixie.
No one said Pixie. So put them in F. Put them in F.
Oh, sorry, Pixie.
All right.
Wait.
wants
Who
to go
did each
first?
person say?
I said Bad Villain. Duck said Signature. You said Try B.
No, dude, not Bad
I said
Villain.
Signature.
There's no way.
I don't think Bad Villain's great. I just think people care about Bad Villain so far.
No, I was
for some
gonna
reason.
say I was between Bad
I
Villain
think
or Signature.
People were waiting to see what happens because they pulled Emma into the group, and then it did not pop off at all.
But there's eyes on it.
There are eyes on it.
No, dude. I can't. I feel bad for Purple Kiss if I put Bad Villain next to them.
Dang.
Damn.
If I put it like that.
I mean, if I put it like that, I feel bad for putting BB Girls next to
Okay.
Focus.
Okay, Anita, why do you think Signature doesn't be an F? Because for me, that's an F. Like,
Well, to me, it feels like Signature has a little bit of relevancy, or at least it seemed towards the beginning. Maybe currently, right now, it's not as hot, but
I think if I had to pick another group other than Bad Villain, I would choose Signature.
nah.
I think. What is that girl's name in Signature? I'm so sorry.
G1.
G1. She is a lot more relevant than what Nana has ever been.
Maybe in Korea.
really,
Yeah.
Maybe in Korea.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think,
You know what?
I think you can kind of go with that.
You know what?
She was a water bomb.
You know what? I'm fine with putting all of them in F. Now that I think about it.
Okay, now that I think about it, now that I think about G1, I want to put Signature in D and then Bad Villain Tribe in F.
No, you're crazy. I don't think that G1
I think
bombing-
Signature is a lot more relevant than Everglow. Ton more than BB Girls.
okay, I could see the BB Girls argument. I don't know about Everglow.
Okay, I will give up my Tribe argument because I thought the music's good, but we'll put them in F. Do it.
Okay. Why don't we do
Unfortunately.
Tribe B and Bad Villain in F, and then we talk about Signature a little more, yeah?
Okay, Anita, compare Signature and Bad Villain. Who do you think's doing better? Signature. Am I wrong?
That's what
Bad
I'm
Villain,
thinking.
Bad
Signature,
Villain,
yeah.
Bad Villain, we gotta see a lot more.
You know what?
Like-
No, I retract my previous comment. I'll put Bad Villain in F,
Oh, okay.
but Signature in
Okay.
D.
I can see that.
What do you mean you can see that? You agreed with me earlier.
That's what I'm saying. The thing is, to me, okay, I was thinking Bad Villain had a lot of eyes on it, and I don't think the debut was terrible. I think it did okay. But if they definitely need to come back to really know where they stand in comparison to the other groups.
I will admit they have had a comeback ever since their debut. I like the song. The fact that you didn't know about it, I think that says a little bit.
Hurricane?
Was that what it's called? They had a couple music videos. Like they had Batitude. Look at
Right, but
Yeah.
that was a B-side, I believe.
But they still had a music video for it.
I don't know if that counts as a comeback.
You know what? You know what? Put Signature in D. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about this. At least, okay. Let me put it this way, right?
Yeah.
When I look at the groups in F and I try to think of what is positive about these groups that we got going on right now, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't think Emma's pull is anywhere near G1's pull. If that's like the main positive factors for me, Signature is doing better. You get what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Like if I'm looking,
Is Emma that girl who was a dancer and is now in Bad Villain?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And they thought that would equal Cash, and it's not equaling Cash yet.
No.
You know?
No.
Where I think is like, if I think about the positives, like there's one positive aspect of these groups in F where I'm like, I got to drag them out of here because something's going well. This G1 situation is actually doing some good.
They
You know?
at the end of the day, they're making money. I don't know how much. Probably not
Put them
net
in D.
positive,
Put them in
but
D.
yeah.
Put them in D. Even though I think their company is the worst company out of these companies at the moment.
Yes.
Just saying.
I
Have
think we covered all the
Oh.
things. We're done.
Okay, let's take like a good 10, 20 minutes and discuss if we want to change anything, right?
Okay.
This is we're gonna lock this in.
All right.
Are we okay with S being this inclusive?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Basically, do you think any of these groups in S are around the level of like
Seven.
Kiss of Life and Nmixx and Itzy and Red Velvet and I-DLE at right now?
It feels weird to have more S than A.
But I think it's the right decision.
I think it's the right decision, though.
I mean, honestly, it just shows like the power of the girl groups right now, which, I mean,
I think
can't deny it.
if we had to, if we could actually, if we could separate S into SSS and S,
No.
then there's the three at the four at the top. Right?
then I would do aespa, Blackpink, G-IDLE, New Jeans,
Yes, I agree.
and then
Okay.
Twice LE Seraphim. But without doing that, I feel comfortable putting the 7 here into one tier,
think
and I
that's
think
fine.
a lot of it comes down to who is at the top of the 4th generation tier, and who is still 3rd generation but still relevant.
Yeah. If you want to go with those terms, I agree. Mm-hmm. These are like the big acts, honestly. These are the massive acts.
If that was the lineup, that'd be crazy.
And I think obviously the next one up would be Red Velvet, but there has definitely been, I'm not gonna say a big fall, but there's definitely been a little bit.
There's a little bit.
Itzy, Uncertainty, they've been on the hiatus. Nmixx is on the way up. I-DLE and Kiss of Life. We just need to see one more massive song, maybe one or two, and then we start pulling in big sales. Then I could elevate them. But for right now, with one song from I-DLE, maybe two really good songs from Kiss of Life at the moment, I need a little more.
I will stand by my comment. I feel I apologize very dearly for the Itzy fans. I don't feel comfortable with Itzy in A tier. That is the one thing I feel very strong about with the rest of the tier list.
You still want them in B?
I want them in B. I'll be honest. Like I just don't think.
So you would compare like how VVZ is doing to Itzy?
Honestly,
that's
yeah.
Comparable?
Honestly, yeah.
Wow. I feel like
let us know what you think about that. Where would you put Itzy,
that's a
guys?
divisive one, I guess.
Where are you putting Itzy?
And I know that's a bit of a Debbie Downer there, but I just think they had a good run. Is all I'll say.
I don't think it's over.
No. Oh, you mean them, or do you mean in general? We go to B tier.
You want to move the conversation down to B tier.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna keep. I thought you wanted to move them to B.
No.
That was like no.
Hell no.
I know you guys disagree with me. No. I know that's a hot take. In B tier we have XG, Baby Monster, QWR, Stacy, Triple S, From S9, Kepler, Oh My Girl, VVZ, Nizio.
This is solid, dude.
This feels right. Of course, I feel like this has some of the groups where kind of similar to A. If there's another really successful comeback,
this is like hours 2 and 3 of KCON right here, right? Like this is the meat of KCON. Am I wrong? These are the groups that would be performing. If we went to KCON, there would be like 4 rookie groups. Then you would have maybe 4 of these groups, and then you'd have like 1 or 2 headliners. That would be your KCON.
I think the group we've already talked a lot about XG, Baby Monster, QWR. I'm not gonna bring them up again. Fromis 9, it is going to be interesting how their next comeback performs. Because
I agree.
Other than the first 3 I mentioned, they're the most volatile here in terms of where they could go.
It feels like they're only getting a comeback because the fans got so pissed online.
Honestly,
really?
Yeah.
Yes, there was this big. Everyone was so pissed until they announced they're having a comeback.
The members were pissed off too. Like I forgot who. I think it was Taeyong, but she was like, "Oh,
yeah." They were shading the company and they had to like apologize and stuff. Yeah, it got a little weird. But I'm okay with this B. What about you, Anita?
Yeah, but it makes sense. Like I said, it is like one song or two could definitely push them up. Like Baby Monster, I feel like that's the one where
if Baby Monster gets a Blackpink level song, they sell 750K, they gotta go up, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about all of these groups, who can possibly all of a sudden sell a shit ton of albums? It's Baby Monster in this group.
Yeah.
The potential to.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yeah.
Regardless of what you think about the music, right? Independent of the music, which group can all of a sudden, if the song pops off, they in the following comebacks like a million? It's Baby Monster in this grouping.
Yeah.
Other than the 2 Japanese groups, I think yeah.
That's why they're here. C is our uncertainty, and this is no man's land right here, right?
We got Dreamcatcher, Cosmic Girls, A-Pink, Artemis, Mamamoo, Kara, Billy, 50/50, and Cat's Eye.
We have like 4 promoting groups in here. Dreamcatcher, Artemis, Billy, Cat's Eye. Those are the 4 like active groups. The other ones are like, I don't know. Right? That's crazy.
This tier is actually the tier I feel the most solid about.
Really?
Yeah. Hey. I mean, if you think about our conversation, a lot of these we were like, yeah, they should be the gatekeeper of this area. We said that.
Out of these groups, it's like I want to see how much. Well, no. Going back to B for a second, Triple S also has the potential to do a pop off. I don't know what I didn't mention them because that's just a very strange entity in itself. But going down to C, it's like I could see Billy grow. I don't know how much Artemis can do more because a lot of the Artemis fandom is carryover from the Luna fandom, right? So that's confusing there. Dreamcatcher, I don't see how they could go much higher, even though they have one of the strongest core fandoms there. Cat's Eye's an enigma to me at the moment.
That's the one I've been iffy about now that I look at it.
They have that high Geffen thing. Yeah, right? Cat's Eye feels weird.
Okay, I will admit, with all the 9 groups here, Cat's Eye has the most potential to... They would be the safest bet for, rising in popularity.
Really?
If I had to bet money right now.
Well, out of these 9, yes.
Yeah,
they have the highest ceiling. Yeah.
But I agree with you. Until we get there, we're not gonna get there. The same goes for B. Like, when you're talking about B tier, I think half of these are groups that came down from A tier, or groups that
are peaking right now.
They're like a song or two away from getting into A tier. Like, that's how I feel about XG Baby Monster, QWER, Triple S. Like, I feel like from S9 maybe too. Like, I feel like those groups, they have. They're just. I would. You know what it is. I would be let down if they don't pop off next comeback. You guys want to move on to D tier?
Sure.
D tier, we have Lucembo, High Key, Purple Kiss, Young Posse, Wooa, Weekly, Everglow, BB Girls, Vicha, and Signature.
I know you guys don't want Wooa in D, but I'm leaving. They gotta be in D, guys. Come on.
No, I agree. That makes sense to me.
No, I was the one that disagreed. I think. Okay, now that you have Signature in D tier, I think Wooa in D tier makes a lot more sense.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. If we pull Wooa down to F, we pull Signature down to F.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
All right.
I feel bad if I did that.
Same.
Purple Kiss, the trajectory is very strange with them. It's very confusing. I don't know what we're doing there.
No, I feel like Purple Kiss is a strong fandom where I could pull them into C, but I other than that, I don't see people talk about Purple Kiss too much, I still like covering their music. It's just...
And I feel like High Key is strange too, because Korea knows who they are because that one song. But that in the West, it was like people didn't even know it popped off.
I think you're over-indexing how much it popped off in Korea.
Am I over-indexing?
I don't think it's that big of a popular track.
Well, all I know is they got on like the seasons because of that song. Like they made big TV appearances randomly because of that song.
Right, as a Young K guest.
If that's fair.
Yeah, like they weren't the guest. Young K was, and he brought on High Key.
Fair, fair. I also think we might be overestimating the Young Posse. I need to see more. I'm very confused with them. Yeah.
Young Posse. Yeah. I feel like Young Posse, the people who like Young Posse, honestly, we're not going to interact with them online. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Like, I feel like whenever I see actual Young Posse fans, it is like rap fans who just happen to like K-pop. Or they're like people who are young, 15 or below.
Man, there's a group in F that I want to consider moving to D.
Who is it?
Maiden/Limelight because of the Kepler
Okay,
effect.
I was thinking
that's what I said earlier.
I was on board with D too.
What the? All right, we're
but
moving
no,
up.
okay. Say why, and I'll see if I agree with it, Doug.
I think I know they haven't released any music as Maiden yet, but I just feel like at least the first couple songs are gonna do well, right?
Yeah.
Because of the lineup
I feel
shift.
like if we're looking at groups like Signature, where there's like at least one member, right, that is very well known. Maiden already has 2. Or incoming 2.
And they have an existing group within there of 3.
Yeah, I feel like D makes sense.
All right, move it to D. Move it to D.
The other group in F that I want to talk about is Rocket Punch.
If
any of you fuckers come at me for putting them in F, I have their albums.
Yeah,
this is what you did to me.
You were their number one supporter.
This is what you did to me.
That's just an unfortunate Woolham situation, right? Okay, let's my final thing is let's all go through this. What's the group in here that we're gonna get the most shit about in the comments? I think it's Triple S for me and B. I think people are not gonna be happy about that.
I'm afraid of that. Yeah, people were thinking higher.
Really?
Maybe Itzy too.
I also think Warren's takes about
By way
Itzy,
of Warren.
Okay, people are gonna be
happy
pissed off about my takes about Itzy and Baby Monster. Like I know for a fact. Like I
Baby
see them
Monster
coming
might be
already.
a-
And if you
I
are
think
like, oh, good for you, man.
cause of
But like,
discord.
Itzy, Baby Monster, and Triple S are gonna get us like bad comments. That's my guess.
no.
leave your critical comments. I will happily accept them. If they're mean, I'll remove them. But I will try not to.
I think Triple S is one more solid song from moving them up, though. I really feel that way. If we had this discussion,
the thing is, like, because of the model that they have, I just don't see them moving up. Is like, you know what I mean?
They could. I just don't know how sustainable it is.
That, again, I also return to my QWR comment. They are the only group in that tier right now where they performed in all the major college festivals and Pentaport.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
Oh.
like that's.
let's put it this way:
But I understand the lack of Western knowledge.
our listeners are not there yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Guys,
Maybe they will. Maybe
come
another
here,
song will
guys.
break into
If the
Western
next song
audience.
pops off again, if the next song goes top 10, put them in A. Triple S, if the next song and album does well, put them in A.
Okay.
That's how I feel about
Same with
Baby
Baby
Monster. Baby Monster is like realistically speaking, if Baby Monster just pops off, has 3 good songs in a row, they're probably gonna end up in S. They're like 3 songs away.
Oh, to S. Oh,
I think if Baby Monster, the next song is really good, right? It's an amazing song. The following album's gonna sell like 700,000. If that song's good, the next song's gonna sell like 1 million, and then you have to put them in S.
you know what? I don't disagree actually. Yeah.
Right? They're like 3 good songs from popping off, like from really being a humongous girl group.
I would like to see that happen.
I would like to see that happen too, because I've been watching the side content. I like all the kids in that group.
Yep.
You know, they're fun. I just think that YG doesn't know what they're doing with them. But this seems like it's the end of our tier list, right?
All right. Well, I will be posting a PNG of this either on our social channels. Please come shit on it if you want. But if you agree with it,
Gently,
that's
though.
welcome too. Any outro comments, Doug?
Yeah, next week, in terms of the music, we're going to have 2 weeks of music here because the Olympics are going to finally end, I think, at some point. We have this girl, Yuche, is having a solo debut. B2B, 90 Tan had a unit debut. Celestia debut. Black Swan. Somi released that track. It's basically a Megan Trainor track. People don't like it.
Sorry,
number
Megan
one.
Trainor? Really?
I understand
Yeah.
what you mean.
At this era?
Yes.
Okay.
People hate it, dude.
All right.
Just saying.
We'll talk about it.
I
when we
don't
get
know
there.
about that.
Infinite L solo debut, Extraordinary Heroes, Astro Sana solo debut, Eunice, Lightsome. There's like a BAP unit thing that's gonna debut. Catch the Young, Got 7 Bam Bam, Shiny Taemin, Big Ocean, From Miss 9, Hyorin. Those are songs up for coverage next week. All right, it's been fun. We made the tier list. Hopefully y'all aren't too angry at us. Let us know what you think. What would you have done differently? And let us know if you're interested in us doing the boy group tier list on a live stream with input from the audience. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think it would be the most scuffed thing ever, but I think it'd be a good time.
We'll see.
Okay, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And here's an extra special shout out to all of our Fiesta Patreons on patreon.com. Bagel, Charles, Cotton Ball, Ellie, Gogu Mama, Honey Pools, Liam's Games and Toys, Luke Daniels, NJ Parks, South Texas Once, Siu Sumi. And thank you for joining SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. Thank you, really. And special thanks to our Discord server mods: Jacob, K-Music Erday, Koala, Max, No Bias Nuda, Tuggles, and Wolf297.